The compensation scheme was just running parallel and almost overtaking my mum's battle with cancer. We sat and waited to hear back, but then in the meantime my mum passed away. I don't know anyone that loses someone and instantly you're dealing with the Home Office. And we're a close family, so the loss was big.
What makes me the most angry is the way they've treated my wife. To watch her go through all that, they can't be human. Came to London in February 1961. Came with my aunt on her passport, which you were allowed to do. Makes it difficult because I was only 7, so I had no individual paperwork for me.
Well, many people came when they were children in the 50s and 60s and onwards, so you could look at a body of evidence going back 40, 50 years. It's impossible to show that.
It took so long. It takes over your life. Even running parallel with the cancer treatment, it's like you feel like you've committed a crime and you've got to talk your way out of a crime, basically. I couldn't have done all this without my daughter Charlotte.
It can take up to 2 years for the Home Office to make a first decision on an application under the scheme, and it can then take up to 6 months for a decision at the review stage.
I paid taxes for 40 odd years non-stop. The things they've asked me to find, which is extremely difficult, finding information about a paper trail of my life. So they've made me jump through all these different hoops when they know who I am.
All of our clients always had the lawful right to be here, they just didn't have the documentation to prove it.
I can't put across how tiring and how traumatic the scheme is. Like, it's so draining. And even the terms in which they refer to you. So we've gone from being Windrush victims to all of a sudden customers.
The application process is not straightforward, it's really complicated. People can't do it without the benefit of a solicitor. Legal aid should be made available.
To pay me what they paid me, if it weren't for the fact that we knew we were on borrowed time, I wouldn't have accepted it.
My mum had lived parallel with my dad. Like, their whole life they fought everything together, so it was just the two of them. And so of course when the scandal happens, they were together on that journey together, equal parts. It affected them both. Applying for compensation was taking so long that my mum was getting more sick as the time went on. So she said to the head of the compensation scheme, all that I will do with my compensation is pay for my funeral. That's all she wanted to do. She's like, that's the last thing I can do for my family, is just pay for that. So it felt really sad that that they didn't take that into consideration, because it really ruined the last years of her life.
So some of our clients have been battling with the Home Office for decades to get proof of their entitlements, and we see how they've just been ground down over the years. They've lost all hope, they've lost sense of their self-worth.
and you're so vulnerable and you've been through so much and you're so beaten down by it, because that's really what the compensation scheme does. If you're wanting to really truly apologise to the Windrush victims and put things right, that it goes to an independent body and they make the choice, because I think whether they like it or not, there's a bias there.
I don't think the scheme is fit for purpose. The Home Office should be stripped of the compensation scheme and it should be passed to an independent body to allow for transparency and accountability. Sadly, we know that many people are dying without receiving final decisions on their compensation claims. They're dying without getting the justice that they deserve.
And so when the second offer was made, and it was a higher offer, my mum had already passed away. And there was no apology with my mum. And even within that offer letter, there was no real acknowledgement of, well, it didn't come through strong that we're really sorry that we got this wrong.
Going through the whole process now, you feel sort of empty, because we started out together, been together from teenagers, grew up together, and they made the last end of it really, really difficult. And no one can understand that. And my hope is that they learn and they treat the next person a bit better. It's too late for me. What they've done, they can't reverse, they can't change my feelings. It's just too late for me, but it's not too late for another person.